Thank you, Energius, for giving me this dais for expressing my views on the surgical management of PPH. I'll definitely need expert opinion after that. Thank you. So, in this workshop, everywhere in every conference, PPH. Why so? All of us know. See. So, why this PPH hits our ears? Just because it is a major cause of maternal mortality. We are having a workstation which is going to tell us how to assess the blood loss, but sometimes it is very difficult to assess the blood loss and delays are costly. So rapid, aggressive, timely and skilled interventions are needed for survival of a patient. All of us know various causes in which we may encounter PPH, and we do take proper precautions like active management of third stage to prevent PPH as a preventive aspect. And when PPH occurs, there can be management point of view, medical management, mechanical management and surgical management. No doubt blood and blood products are of great help to save the mother. But important thing is team. We should call team because it is very difficult for one person to communicate with the relatives, to take consent, to explain them the condition of the patient, to arrange blood and go for the surgical interventions also. So team is very much important in this case. Mode of delivery often also matters, whether patient is delivered vaginally or she is for abdominal cesarean section. If cesarean section, patient is already on the table. If there is vaginal delivery, these two modes can give you the selection of appropriate method of managing the PPH. If predisposing factors are there, definitely we are going to manage third stage actively. But medical management remains the first line of management in case of PPH. In case of unanticipated postpartum hemorrhage, as Dr. Savita has already said that we can encounter even in a normal patient, PPH can happen. That doesn't mean that there are only high-risk patients will have PPH. If delivery is vaginal or cesarean section, no doubt medical management, but we should rule out retained products of conception before going for further treatment. Cervical and vaginal exploration should immediately be undertaken. If any tears, lacerations are there, they should be stitched immediately. And if patient is bleeding, mechanical methods like balloon tamponade, UBT or SR cannula should also be tried. We have got various stations where all these things will be explained to you. In such situation arises at public health center places, medical management they try at the level based, but referral to tertiary care center has to be undertaken. But what has to be done while transferring the patient to these centers? Wide bore IV lines should be set up with crystalloid solution, with oxytocin running in that solution. They can go for balloon tamponade, they can go for vaginal packing, even NHG garments which we will demonstrate here how it can be applied. They will also help your patient not to go in irreversible shock. And one of the important thing is aortic compression which can be tried during this referral. That will also be demonstrated in the workstation later. So coming to surgical management, the topic given to me. So if medical and mechanical management fails, we are there for surgical management. If the PPH is traumatic, then surgical management is required. And if patient is on OT table for cesarean section, you may require to take surgical steps for control of PPH because patient is already open. This includes compressive sutures, arterial ligation, that is uterine artery ligation, unilateral, bilateral. It can be done by abdominal method, it can be done by vaginal method. There can be stepwise revascularization of uterus, there is spelling mistake, I am very sorry, and there can be internal iliac ligation. Now what to choose? It is a surgical management, what to choose? So generally if we encounter atonic PPH, generally compression is the first line of management. Now whether this compression is going to help you out, for that there is a compression test which we will also demonstrate on workstation, so I am not taking much time. But if that compression test is positive, you will go for various compression sutures which I am describing it over here. See, there are uterine brace sutures. They are divided, either it is with the opening of the cavity or it is without opening the cavity. While we open the cavity, it can be Billinch, Nelson, Wahl, Mercier. And without opening the cavity, with transfixation, it can be targeted Cho sutures, it is transverse Baba sutures, vertical Hemann sutures, or with no transfixation, it can be mixed Pereira or horizontal Hackett-Hall. So I will describe in short all this. So most important is Billinch suture. It is introduced by Christopher Billinch in 1997 to avoid the peripartum hysterectomy. The physiological effect of compression suture is twofold. First is to enhance the effect of uterine muscle to slide into contraction, and secondly, it occludes the vascular spaces within the uterus. So commonest indication is postpartum hemorrhage. Requirement of Billinch is uterus must be exteriorized, basic surgical competence is required, bimanual compression test which I have explained, it should be positive. Transverse lower uterine incision should be made, uterine cavity checked, explored, retent product should be ruled out. Then a 70 mm half circle guarded needle mounted on 90 mm monocryle number 1 or even chromic catgut number 1 also can be used for that. Apply suture correctly with even tensions. Because it is a single suture, there is no shouldering and it allows free drainage of blood, debris and inflammatory material. Check bleeding control vaginally using swabs and instruments. So this is the pictorial description of Billinch. We will demonstrate it even on workstations. The special features of Billinch suture are the tension is even, free drainage from the cavity. Because the tension is equal, there is no shouldering, so it facilitates involution. It is easy to confirm hemostasis, confirms that there are no retained products and uterine cavity is empty, and easy to confirm that there is no decidual tear or any traumatic cause for PPH. Causes of failure, even that also fails. There can be placenta percreta. If there is wrong technique causing uterine shouldering is there can be uterine necrosis because of myometrial ischemia. Uncontrolled DIC, if there is no preoperative compression test done, if not properly applied or if delayed, this suture compression suture can fail. Wahl suture is modification of Billinch. There is 2 instead of 1 suture because we are getting short sutures nowadays. We are using 2 sutures and we can use it simultaneously, having 2 needles. So simultaneously assistant as well as surgeon can pass it on and it can help for compression. Mercier modification of Billinch. Billinch we are only passing it over the fundus. So sometimes it may slip. In this manner it is a fixed suture which you can call. It at the level of fundus it passes through the serosa. So it remains fixed at a certain place and don't get displaced. Nelson method. Now these compression sutures can be combined with mechanical measures also, to which we call it as sandwich methods. So Nelson method is one of like that. It is using Billinch with intrauterine balloon. Hemann suture is it is very actually simple. No expertise is required for Hemann suture. No opening of uterine cavity is required. You can directly pass the needle just above the reflection of UV fold from anterior to posterior wall, crossover over the fundus. Assistant will compress the uterus and you can tie it above the fundus. 2 such parallel sutures are applied, but disadvantage is that the tension cannot be same when we are applying. The assistant may compress it more by once, another time it may compress less. While we are tying 3 knots in this Hemann suture, we are not tying the 3 knots at the level of fundus. So if the compression is unequal, there might be shouldering and there might be uterine ischemia, myometrial ischemia. So restricted drainage of endometrial because anterior and posterior surfaces are compressed if we use more than 2 sutures. And suture anchoring causes shouldering and therefore when it slips it can cause venous return occlusion. There can be central ischemia and there is possibility of pyometra also with this. But they are very much easier than Billinch and can be used without expertise. Another important sutures are throw sutures. These are the square sutures. But important feature is that it requires piercing of the uterus at 32 times. It impairs involution, it causes poor drainage because the cavity is occluded. It does not close all the transverse branches of the vascular supply. It can cause pyometra and Asherman's syndrome, and it is difficult to apply and to achieve hemostasis when the patient is in DIC, no doubt. But at a certain point, if there is atony in a part of the uterus, you can apply these sutures in association with other compressing sutures. Another sutures very important, they are cervical ischemic sutures. They can be used in placenta previa because they are given below the incision of transverse incision on the uterus. They are used in placenta previa. They are vertical parallel sutures placed in lower segment below the incision line, one on either side. These are the vertical sutures, but the care has to be taken that cervical canal should remain patent, otherwise it can cause cervical stenosis. Other methods for description purpose I have never seen, never used. So madam can comment on that. This is Pereira's technique. These are series of transverse and longitudinal sutures around the uterus. Placement of sutures involves series of bites inserted superficially, taking only serous membrane and subserous myometrium without penetrating the uterine cavity. In Quaba suture, Quaba compressing sutures, there are 4 sutures which are placed on the uterus with one transverse suture in the midline near the fundus, one suture in each horn. It is at parallel to the horns, and another below your lower uterine segment. These are the 4 sutures they are placing, but it occludes the uterine cavity. So coming to this comparison of these compressive sutures, B-inch suture, it involves lower uterine incision to check for emptiness of cavity, and brace sutures to the uterus without transfixing the anterior and posterior uterine wall. Cho sutures, these are multiple square sutures which approximate anterior and posterior uterine walls, especially in the area of heavy bleeding. Heyman's suture, 2 vertical parallel sutures placed over fundus, effectively compressing the anterior and posterior walls together, and 1 cervico-ischemic suture antero-posteriorly. Pereira, multiple sutures applied longitudinally and transversely. Quaba, these 4 sutures I have already explained. Hackethal sutures are uterine compression using 6/16 horizontal interrupted U sutures. And Nelson and Ball I have already explained. Before going for arterial ligation, all of us
Sorry to interrupt, we have 5 minutes.
Yes, 5 minutes. I will complete it, no problem. Important is bimanual compression of uterus, which we generally go in case of vaginal deliveries having PTH. And there is one uterine flexion suture for this bimanual compression, which we can use. We can demonstrate it on station, which uses this bimanual compression by flexing the uterus anteriorly by suture compression. Another surgical management is arterial ligation, in which there is uterine artery ligation, which is O'Leary technique. All these videos will be played on substations. So uterine artery is ligated as it turns upwards in the broad ligament at the level of uterovesical peritoneal reflection. Care to be taken to avoid injury to the ureter. The suture should initially include part of uterine myometrium and then go around the uterine vessels so that it won't tear or slip. Bimanual uterine artery ligation controls bleeding in 75% of cases. If patient delivers vaginally, how we are going to ligate uterine artery? It is by transvaginal route. You have to give transverse incision at cervico-vesical space. Give transverse incision, retract the bladder, see or shift the uterus by your finger. Go for uterine ligation from that space. Stepwise devascularization, it is first described by Abrago in 1994. Principle is vascularity of uterus may be reduced in stepwise manner by tying the feeding vessels one by one. Unilateral uterine, bilateral uterine, then descending branches of uterines can also be tried by separating the bladder and avoiding injury to the ureters. Bilateral ovarian vessel ligation, and all this will complete the stepwise devascularization. This is the picture how we are going for stepwise devascularization. And last is internal iliac ligation. The video will also be played. There are 2 ways how we go for internal iliac ligation. It is actually posterior peritoneum we can open, or otherwise we can go from external IVRT approach. Okay, it requires special expert skills. It causes reduction almost 85%. It reduces the pulse pressure from arterial. It becomes a most like a venous circulation, and that's why postpartum hemorrhage is reduced. And precaution has to be taken to avoid injury to ureter and ligation of external iliac vessels inadvertently. So this is the comparison between compression and uterine artery ligation. Last is, if everything fails, we have to go for hysterectomy. It can be total or subtotal. Atonic subtotal hysterectomy is fast. We can go ahead and surgical time can be reduced, but if it is placenta previa, there is no other option than to go for total hysterectomy. So take home message, if there is postpartum hemorrhage which is not responding to your mechanical or medical line of management, surgical measures have to be undertaken. Please go with the team, convey everything with the relatives, take proper consent, and this workshop is there just especially to improve our surgical skills so that we can select proper technique and prevent BPH and save mother. Thank you.